guys, welcome to today's video, and I'm very happy to be here again today with you. Thank you for joining me every Wednesday. If you don't know, my name is Marion and I'm an English teacher here in France, and I have other videos that you can watch if you want to catch up. Please subscribe, like, comment, I will be happy to read you. Okay, today we have a video that is very requested because it's grammar. And you may think, oh no, grammar, who likes grammar, right? No one. But the way I explain things, usually my clients tell me why we don't have this at school, why we are not taught this way at school. And I don't know why. I don't know why things are very complicated at school, but believe me, you can learn this grammar in a way that is quite easy, and probably you're going to be able to use them after that video. So today we are going to talk about the present simple, past simple, then present perfect and the future. Okay, so 4 different tenses, very important, and if you understand them and use them, you can speak English. So you can have a conversation, okay, so very important. And we are going to do that in 3 different steps. The first step is going to be when you have to use the tense. Second step is going to be how you use it. And then the third step is going to be about indications. So when you have these indications, you know you have to use these specific tense. Okay, let's start. You're going to understand everything, I promise. So the first one is the present simple. So present simple, when do you have to use it? So when, first step. When you use it, it's when you want to talk about your routine, habits, things in general, or facts. Let me give you examples. The president is Macron in France, or the president is Trump in the US. That's a fact, okay? I wake up every day at 7 a.m. That's my habit, my routine. I'm an English teacher, okay, it's a fact again, it's my job. So you see, these are facts, routine, general habits. So you have to use the present simple. Be careful, present simple is not now, okay? Usually when I ask my students, when do you use the present simple? They say, well, now, the present, but no, okay? You don't have to use the present simple for that. It's going to be present continuous with ing. Okay, so be careful with that. So we have the when and we have indications. So indications are going to be all the time, every day, every Monday, every month, things that tell you you have a routine. Now, how do you use the present simple? Remember, what I'm going to tell you is okay for all the verbs except to be. So all the verbs, for example, to drink, eat, think, believe, walk, run, okay, all the verbs you can have except to be. So if you take an example for present simple, I work at a language school. I work at a language school. So you have your subject, verb and object. But if I replace I by she, you need the S at the end of the verb. So she works at a language school. So that's the only difference between the different subjects. So I work, you work, nothing changes, but he, she, it works. Okay, you need the S. We work, they work. Okay, so very easy if it's a positive sentence. You just need the S if it's he, she, or it. Now, if it's negative or if it's a question, you need your auxiliary, and I always tell your auxiliary is your superhero, because if you have an auxiliary for negative and questions, then the verb is always infinitive because the auxiliary has all the powers. Okay, let me give you an example. So I work at a language school. If it's negative, I don't work at a language school. Very easy. So don't plus infinitive, work. Now, if you have she, the auxiliary takes everything, remember, so you need the S somewhere and it's going to be at the auxiliary. So she doesn't work, at a language school. And that's the only difference again. He, she, it, you need an S somewhere, but it's with the auxiliary and not the verb anymore. And now if it's a question, remember you also need your superhero auxiliary. So you start with your superhero, do you work at a language school? And then if it's she, does she work at a language school? And that's it, that's present simple. And if you understand that, it's the same for the past simple. And let's move on to the past simple then. So the past simple, when do you use it? So first step, when do you use it? When an action is finished in the past. So anything that is finished, past simple. Now, indications, step number 2, indications you have last week, yesterday, last Monday, 2 weeks ago, 3 years ago, in 1992. All these are indications that it's the past simple to use. Now, how do you use it? If you know your irregular verbs, you're going to have to choose. The verb is irregular, second column of the irregular verbs. If it's regular, you need to put ed. For example, I work at a language school. If it's in the past, I worked, ed, I worked at a language school. And if it's negative, you need your auxiliary again, but in the past. I didn't work. Remember auxiliary, superhero, Superman, Batman, all of them, okay, reunited. The auxiliary has the past, did, okay, plus negation, didn't. And the verb has nothing, didn't work. And question, you start with the auxiliary again, did you work at a language school? Now the past is even easier than the present because there is no difference for he, she or it. So don't worry about the S, it's only regular and irregular verbs. An example of irregular verbs, I see you. In the past, I saw you. So you don't have ed because it's irregular. But it's exactly the same for negative and questions. You need your auxiliary and then infinitive. And that's it for the past simple. Very easy, right? Okay, before we go to present perfect, remember you can subscribe to my channel, like, comment, it would be very helpful for others to find this video and think, okay, grammar is not that difficult. Present perfect. So, present perfect. When do you use present perfect? When you have a connection between the past and the present. So this one is a bit more difficult because we don't have similar things in French. You have one like that in Spanish because I'm studying Spanish at the moment and it's quite similar. Your indications are going to be this day because the day is not finished, this afternoon because the afternoon is not finished, or it's going to be about past experiences but you don't mention a specific time or a specific date. If you mention a specific date, then it's going to be the past simple, for example, in 1986. So notice the difference. I say, I've lived in London before. I've lived in London before. I don't mention when, but you know it's my past experience. And if I say, I lived in London last year, then it's different because it's a finished action and you know specifically when it happened. So these are your indications. Now, how do you use it? You need have, and you need to conjugate have in the present. So I have, you have, he, she, he has, okay? And then you need the past participle. So again, you need to know your regular, irregular verbs. If it's regular, ed. If it's irregular, be careful, it's the third column. For example, I have lived, that's ed. But I have seen, third column of to see. So that's how you use it. Not very difficult to use. And if you want to say she has lived, that's the only thing that is changing. If it's negative, she hasn't lived, I haven't lived. And if it's a question, you start with the auxiliary again, have you lived, has she lived. So it's more or less the same thing all the time, but here the auxiliaries have and not do or did. The last one that I want to talk about with you is the future. And you have different options for the future, but the two most common ones are going to be will and be going to, the two different options. and I've just posted a post on Instagram about the differences on will and be going to, so please check that out because it's pictures, so maybe it's easier for you to remember. And will is for things you presume, okay? You don't have evidence, you don't have proof. For example, I think the team will win. Okay, maybe. But if you have an evidence, if you have a proof, then you have to use be going to. The team is going to win because they are doing great this year. So you have proof, be going to. So will, when do you use will? So will is to talk about the future. And you want to use will plus infinitive all the time because will is a model. I will do, she will do, they will do. Nothing changes. If it's negative, then you want to say they won't do, she won't do. Now the other difference is if it's a plan. Then if it's a plan, you need to use be going to. For example, the bus is going to be here at 5. It's a schedule, it's a plan, so you need to use be going to. And if it's a question, again, you just start with the model. Will you do? Will she do? Nothing very complicated here. And for be going to, so you have to use be and conjugate be. I am, you are, she is, we are, they are. And then you just put going to plus the verb infinitive if you have one. For example, I'm going to take the bus. I'm going to think about it. You just need to remember to conjugate to be. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful. Nothing's very complicated, but you just need to practice. So my advice for you is to stop before you speak. Think about your sentence and think, okay, is that finished, not finished? Do I have proof? Is it a plan? Okay, so just to remember a little bit your grammar, and then if you do that all the time, after a while you won't have to think about it anymore, and it's going to be a routine, a habit for you. You won't have to think anymore. Okay guys, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe again and see you next Wednesday.